So this is the Kwame Nkrumah Circle in the heart of Accra, a very busy hub where you find all sorts of medicines, from the ones that heal stroke to hypertension. I have come here to meet the sellers of herbal medicine who tell me their drugs can be a response to all manner of sicknesses in the country. This is Joynews exclusive.
Self-styled herbalists on a regular basis wait in queue to join passenger buses on both long-distance journeys and intercity travels. What they do here is sell all sorts of medicines, from orthodox to herbal. This medicine alone can cure headaches, blood in stools, hemorrhoids, stomach aches, skin itches, waist pains, back pains, neck pains, menstrual problems, cholesterol buster, and helps blood circulation.
What was the product where you trust Doctor na waye edroway edia yenyina ya yetade frɛ no ɛyɛ professor ni ato na yedroway obi a sabe ɛyɛ ne trimuta hyehyɛ no obi a sabe ɔkɔba bi so a ɛyɛ amogya wɔ mu anaasɛ kɔkɔ afifiri wɔ ne to mepaacho ɛtɔna bi abo sɛ aduane tɔ oyɛ fruma na oyɛ frɛ ya wo ya wonum yedroway bi pɛ na kɔ obi wɔ Wajali onyali o. Ubo say ya na no honam keka no. Onya yusu yadro we bepena eko. Na yadro we ya de aboa ne pa bebre. Usisi na ya wo ya. Me pa cho. Wachi dompe. Ukonka say yusu yadro we be fro so one time. Ya de aboa ne pa bebre. Me pa cho yadro we. Baako aye 7 Ghana cedi. Na so wo nim so no be hia wo kwaso. Eti mi baba asimo a mete so kama. Wo 5 Ghana cedi na ya draw we ya ma obi. E bia me ka sei. Ene Daniel wo so. Boso me so a wontumi nya bra papa. E baba akọ na ba me na ni nyina aka wase. Saa de ne to me the fibroid ba. Oba boso me so. Na se wontumi enya bra. Na se nyenyi nsan a. Me pa cho saa moje fi na ka wase no. Me pa cho enya mawo. Eti wonu me ya draw we be me pa cho na boa. Me pa cho draw we so e reduce cholesterol. Esa so ma blood circulation. Just boa ma moja di ehusan ye wo de pedua mu. Ye de aboa de pa bebre. Ba ko ye 7 Ghana cedi. Na esa nse wo wonim so no be hye wo ba asem ti me yi ma ko 5 pepe. Me pa cho ne ni. E ma ko 5. Me fa ma 7 cedis no why. Me pa cho ne ni. Na ye mako 5. Me from 7 Ghana cedi. We were 5 Ghana cedi. Met to me, I'm our draw with me. Me pacho makasa wie. Why any money be 5 Ghana cedi. Now the idea draw with me. Yadi abone pabebre.
Well, business is over for this herbalist. What we don't know is whether whatever medicines the passengers on this bus bought are certified by the Food and Drugs Authority. In fact, there are no guarantees that you could be cured of all these 11 ailments the herbalist believes his medicine cures. We spoke to this man after he jumped off the bus, and of course, his belief in his medicine is firm.
Send me delay natural organic product. Bibidro, ye memodie, ye mubebre, no ana, ye usual at the Sayade. There was more shop Kakrabia, but a woman in the form of advertising. I told you I'm to me, and no be rural care money at the idea cotton tom. Yen Donadia, Obi and Sicilia, Obi a Sabe, or Juso Mojana, so be a cotoleta, Mojana, so be a cocobo, cocoa per se, and as a sabro one or so. Then you know, be of Jalia, ne honam ta keka no say bi obi anani sexual weakness and sexual pain menstrual pains ni ade nyina ye product no be to me where is product aye common product anyankopon de ache yen Africans ye proud of it to me promote yeah Ghana had ye enam adwuma ye wa ha no bebre adwuma mo ye no mo tai ebre pa ti most of the time man for ta complaining e bia na chi dompe ni sisi ana say tiredness e bi obre ni ade e ba sa so say mema no so titire wo mu no adwuma mo tai ye na tai ye de ni ade ti bi mo ye stress ni ade ti ya no sexual mo to me function ye ni ade ti ya so ye product no bi to me eboa mo to me eboa mo ni ade ti ye de aboa ni pa bebre yeah.
We also spoke to Nana Mwako, who is popularly called Chinese Man. He believes herbal medicine has been very helpful to many Ghanaians. Beyond the fact that Chinese Man believes the herbs of his forefathers still remain relevant today, he has a key concern. He wants governments to be more supportive of herbalists and make the process of certification less cumbersome and less expensive.
Abibiduro no ya ade bi eboa Ghana fo. O se hwe se de amanfo e report no brain omoto ye no ni wi a dey say ye eboa Ghana fo pa e wo kwan bi so. Na enam say ye de na kwa bi say nipa nya hu ye yie ni ti no. Omunya hu tumi e we ye mu. Na ewiase bibia no e kakra na etimi e de kodu pempenso bi. Ti adwuma ne de abibiduro na amanfo so agye atum de amanfo nya yemugidie no eye neoma be semiensa de di kan no on say obi a onnim woda na o ka che ne se wo aduro no de di kan no aya na adwumu bu ni fo se me de aduro di kofie na se bi ankoboa me ana ekoya awuduro bi a na me koya na me bai ko nipa ni nnim wo de di kan no ana de tosumienu so ya na enipa ebre na no afa wo hawmu ewo adrom so obo wa anu aduro bi ama aduro no etete no enti ema ohun sa na adwen so kye ne se bi a aduro bi a me fa mire bi a amoa me enti no sa na bi a so de no ete ene ye de tosumienu ana de twato okra so no eya adwenpo bi a ya bibifo ye wo se tambia ne benum aduro a je se doctor akira maye so ho ye wo sa idea no we yetrim na ente sa ye beto ye nananom no we beto me nanaba wonya 114 years anopa bia ono odudo e ma ye num ansa ne yakɔ school a doctor ankyere hwe ama e yo body bo ade no amo obia ne de obetima ye tinua na e wo ho no e bia wo de ye na ya ankyere se dua we dua we a uhu ti ye de ye beto ye nananom mo kyerɛ ye se dua we ti sei te no a na ye nso ye namu a ye de boy bra bepem sabre enya yize se ubenya krata a etese amansan nyina age watum ye di akire pa ye mu bi no tabi e ko a center a ye kohia ho ye ne empanifo a omoda ya no kohia so ye wo mamponfo a researchers omohwe ye nu na ye no na ansa na be ma certificate e kire se ton do ma Ghana fo nyina no enafom eye process esika sem ne adaje bebre na sometimes nso no yensu yentimi nya sika no enye sa neoma no ntresi bebre no eba ne yensu yababo hu dawuro kakra ewo ba bia ye fi se nipa kakra bebehu ye no ti en chencha wonafe de tie bia yenim se nyame tumi mu sa aban be so ya sene a ye wonim de pa mejino metima kire haban be se 7000 sa ya de men Canada na so sabe ya o kire wi a ehe na ade fa wan na so wasene nti ni nyina kwa ye ha nti ya na ja ya de aboye ho so na ja ba bia efi se ye de fa ebeboa ye no na ye de nam ho kakra saa na edwuma na kete.
The Center for Scientific Research into Plant Medicine has been here at Mampong, Ekuapem for almost 40 years. Now, for 40 years, this institute has been leading research into modernizing plant medicine in Ghana. one of the key problems that we have as a country is the use of plant medicine alongside the use of orthodox medicine. Our information is that the Ghana Health Service is gradually leading to a point in the healthcare delivery of this country where herbal medicine will be administered in orthodox hospitals around the country. Today on Joynews Exclusive, we are here to find out the processes that go on here, what they test, what they don't test, and what role they play in the standardization of medicines, traditional medicines for this country. Now bear in mind that the medicines you buy when you are on a vehicle traveling long distance, are you able to tell if they have been approved, certified by this institute and given approval eventually by the Food and Drugs Authority? Well, we'll find out. This is Joynews Exclusive. Right, so we're here to speak to the Deputy Director of the Center for Scientific Research into Plant Medicine. Our understanding is that he's also head of research here at the CSIR into plant medicine. So we'll have a chat with him to get to know what they do, how they go about it, and how that fits into the overall provision of healthcare when it comes to plant medicine. Doc, I mean, there have been instances in the country where we get people selling by the roadside, selling in trucks, selling in cars, and claiming that they have approval of specific drugs from your institution. Sometimes most of these drugs are quacks. What's your response to that?
In the first place, it is wrong. But the reason why some of them do that is that the rules are that if you want to produce a herbal product, you would have to provide an analysis of that product. And that is what we do. We do the scientific work. So a herbalist will bring his or her product here. We'll do the basic analysis. When we do it and we think that the product is safe or whatever that we find, we write it as a form of a technical report. And this technical report is supposed to be taken to FDB to analyze it, look at it, and then if they are satisfied with it, they register the product and approve for production and sale. But when some of them come here and we do the analysis and some of them we indicate that, oh, the product is safe, then that is where they take that advantage and say that we have certified the product.
So really, I mean, the process is that after they've taken that technical report from you, they need to take it to the FDB.
That is a process. And they would have to authorize the production and the sale of that product. If they've not done that, then it's illegal for somebody to sell the product.
So what caution or warning would you give to people who purchase drugs from unauthorized points? What should they look out for in order to be sure that they're consuming the right doses, the right concoction and mixtures, really?
Yeah, I think that when a herbal product is taken to FDB for FDB registration and approval, that product has a registration number, and normally it is on that the label of that product. So that is one of the things that we have to look out for. And then the other thing is to maybe buy some of these things from registered shops. Like these days, some of the pharmacy shops are selling herbal products. You go there, they will get it from a good source to sell. But buying from the wayside, I don't think is good enough.
It's good enough.
Yeah.
Tell me how critical your role at this institute is in the general development of plant medicine and plant healthcare delivery in this country.
Before I come to our role, let me brief you about herbal medicine in general. Before the white man introduced orthodox medicine, our ancestors depended solely on traditional medicine, mainly herbal medicine in particular. So all our ancestors used herbal medicine for centuries. And then later on, orthodox medicine was introduced. And even now that we have a lot of hospitals and other things in our society, about 70% of our population still depend on herbal medicine for their basic health care.
And this 70%, is it because they cannot afford it, or it is because they choose herbal medicine as the option?
There are several reasons. One, affordability is a factor. Two, some of them believe in herbal medicine. So even if they can afford orthodox, they will still go for what they have learned from their ancestors. In fact, there are certain homes even now, every morning they prepare some herbs and everybody takes it before they eat. They call it Dido and etc. So there are places where they use herbal medicine solely for their basic health. They know the herbs for basic common diseases that afflict them, and they use herbs. And then also these days you hear about non-communicable diseases. Diseases like hypertension, diabetes, and cancer, etc. And these things are afflicting our society. And there are people who believe that if you use a lot of herbs, it will, in the first place, prevent these diseases. So even you have people in the cities who are now looking for herbs to use. And even when you go on the internet, there are a lot of information on specific herbs. So even now in the developed world, a lot of people are thinking about herbs, are thinking about organic products. So even the use of herbs is rather increasing.
I see.
Yeah, at the moment. Now, the other side of it is that herbs must be used rationally. In other words, you have to ensure safety and quality. That is where the center comes in.
The question that comes to my mind is that in the administration of herbal medicine, it means that you consider safety and quality. What else do you consider?
Safety, quality, efficacy should be effective.
And this is determined through scientific research.
Yes.
Right. So what was the rationale for setting up the institute in the first place?
The basic rationale is what I just mentioned, to ensure that herbal medicines are safe, they are effective, and the quality is good.
You are a scientific research institute. You research into the efficacy, the quality, and safety of herbal medicine. And possibly you also deal in determining the right dosage and all that.
Yeah, it's all part of the safety.
It's all part of the safety.
Yeah.
So if you are not able to regulate, how then do you feel when you sit back and regulation becomes a problem out there in the market?
We have another institution that is involved in the regulation, that is FDA. So they play that regulatory role. Ours is to do the basic sciences, to make sure that a product is safe, it is effective, the quality is good.
For 40 years, do you think this institute has played a lead role in making plant medicine safe and efficient?
Sure. Did you live on this ridge?
I went to school here, yes.
Yeah. And when this institution was set up, or even as recently as in the 90s when I joined the center, when I came here, herbs were dispensed in gallons.
I see.
They were dispensed in, a patient will come to this center with his gallon, and then the product will be fetched into it for the patient. And then over the years, by the work that we've been doing, we have to bottle, we have to label, we have to reduce the bulk, we have capsules, ointments, etc. And by our rule, that is why you see a lot of herbal institutions cropping up. But when we're young, if you visited a herbalist, they will give you the raw leaves.
Yeah.
The fresh, you just move into the forest or the bush, collect some plant part, and then give it to you to go and boil and then use it. But now you have packaged products with dosage and direction for use. And it's all part of the research.
And you're proud that this
very proud.
This is good work you've done all these years.
Yes.
How do your medicines fit into international standardization? Is it permitted, for example, to use your medicine which treats high blood pressure, hypertension, for example, in the US?
Normally, what is happening, if you take US for instance, they normally don't consider herbal products as part of their system. So they have a name for it. They call it complementary or alternative medicine. And normally they don't regard it as a medicine or a drug. They consider it as something supplementary. They use the term nutraceuticals. They don't consider it as drugs. So it's like something that you use as a supplement. So their system doesn't consider it as medicine. But when you label it as medicine, they won't accept it in their system.
But how then do we use it as medicine? Why do we not also use it as supplementary medicines?
No, like I said earlier on, before Orthodox medicine came into Ghana, this is what we were using, and we found it to be very good. Ours is to add the science to it and use it as medicines, not as supplement, because we know it works.
We know it works
for
us.
That is the point. We know it works. So we do the science to determine the dosage, to determine the efficacy, to determine the quality, and we use it as medicines.
Our next point of call was to find out exactly what they do here at the Center for Scientific Research into Plant Medicine, from testing of herbs to production of herbal medicines for the treatment of specific ailments. We first went to the phytochemistry laboratory where we met Collins Mate, a research officer.
The main focus of the lab now is chronic toxicity, and as part of the chronic toxicity we need to run some of these things because it's a requirement from FDB on some of these herbal products. FDA from some of these herbal products.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. So these are necessary in order to, for example, if somebody comes
to ensure safety.
To ensure safety. Okay.
Right.
So you conduct these tests on the plants or blood samples, or I just need to.
We use the herbal medicines.
Okay.
We transform them into a powder.
Okay.
We reformulate them for animals,
I see.
especially rats and mice.
I see.
We administer the drug for 6 months, and we take a time course. The baseline, 3rd month, 6th month, and then we run these tests on these blood parameters.
So what product comes from here? What's your final product after you've done all the work? What do you get from here?
We'll be able to, after analysis, you get the raw data, you do analysis, SPSS, to be able to find out. Normally, you always run your text with a control. So whatever you are getting, you are comparing it with your control to see whether there will be any difference. So the control serves as a basis. But for humans, there is a standard range. But for animals, there is nothing like that. So you have a set up a control animals that are not receiving the drug. So you run the test against the control. Yes. So in the end, you make your comparison. If they are, for instance, if we have ALT, these enzymes that are very high in your test, but are low in your control, then you have to be careful with some of these medications. Yeah.
Dr. Apia took us through further explanations of what happens in Mr. Mate's lab.
The herbal medicine normally is like orthodox medicine. The difference is that if you take a herbal medicine, it contains a lot of chemicals. If you take orthodox medicines, mostly one. If you take aspirin, it's only one chemical. in a few cases you might have 2 or 3. Like if you take this ACT, artemisinin combination therapy, it contains artemisinin and other lumefantrine or camoquine. So they combine some of them. But in herbs, if you take one plant, you can get as many as about 50 different compounds or 100.
I see.
Yeah. So sometimes we want to know what compound, what chemical is in the herb. And this equipment is one of the things that helps us to know what is there and what quantity is there. And it also helps in standardization of products, looking at quality of products, etc.
Some of the equipment are in the animal house. This is the main lab of the pharmacology toxicology department, and most of the herbal plant medicines that comes are in the form of liquid. And earlier I mentioned we have to transform them into a powder, and this is the process it goes through. So you can see some of the herbal medicines different.
So these are different herbs which have come in from various places,
yes.
From the herbalist.
Yes.
Right. So this is what's happening here right now.
So this machine is a pre-freezer. It's a pre-freezer. Okay. Within 10 to 15 minutes, the liquid in the medicine in the round bottle flask will turn into an ice. And this will be transferred from here onto what we call a freeze dryer.
So what's the essence of it? That's what we're trying to understand what it does. So pre-freezer, the medicine is inside this ball, and it will freeze, it will turn into ice. So that thing inside turning into ice is under test, right?
Yes, it's under test.
You're conducting a test. So you first start by freezing it.
Right.
And then you take it from here to where?
Onto the freeze dryer.
Okay.
Because the mechanism that the freeze dryer works is that you need to pre-freeze the liquid, because it starts the ice out of it. So this is the pre-freezer.
From here, this is what we get.
Yes, we transfer it onto this machine. And it's going to take like 24 hours.
What will you do here now?
So when it's like a vacuum mechanism, okay. So you get the powder from here within 24 hours.
Wow. And
we scrape it. This is what we can reconstitute it for the animals, because the doses that the animals will take is far less than what the humans are going to take.
I see. So when you've taken it and you administer to animals, it is all part of your test processes?
Yes, because we want to see the effect of these medications on the rats. And science has accepted these species of animals that we can, whatever findings we get, we can easily extrapolate to humans. So it is expected that whatever findings you are going to get, it's likely that you will see the same effect on humans when they take it for a long time.
So do you get a lot of people bringing their herbal medicines here for testing?
Yes, we do.
A lot of people.
Yes, a lot of people.
And then you do all the analysis that you have to do and present them the technical report that Dr. Pia spoke about.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So thanks. So what's your guy doing right now?
It's one of the herbal medicine that someone brought in. This came in the form of a powder. That is not fine enough. This is not a liquid. It's not a liquid form.
So
since it's not in a liquid form, we want to make it more finer, so that when we are reconstituting it, it becomes a suspension for us to be able to administer. Because we use a special needle we call a gavilan for the animals.
Wow.
It needs to be able to pass through. If it's very rough, we will not be able to achieve that result.
So after you've done this, do you recommend the same to the person who brought the powder for testing?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's because of the
animals. It's just to help you do the testing better, that you have to make it more.
Right.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is the chemistry But we call it phytochemistry. The reason why we call it phytochemistry is phyto means plant, so it's plant chemistry. We do the chemistry of plants.
This looks like a very busy environment right now. What are they doing?
What this gentleman is doing is we call it chromatography. He's trying to separate individual chemical constituents in a particular plant. That is, so this is one of the processes that we use.
I see.
But it goes through a series of processes. Yes.
I see.
And then the gentleman sitting behind that equipment. See, this one is, we call it rotary evaporator. What this equipment does is that normally if you want to work on a plant, a medicinal plant, you extract the chemical from the plant. It's like our ordinary dido. If you want to prepare dido, you boil it. So boiling is a kind of extraction, but we use what we call solvents, organic solvents. Can be petroleum ether, can be chloroform, can be ethyl acetate, it can be ethanol, etc. Now, when we extract it with organic solvent, the next stage is to take off the solvent. So this equipment is taking off the solvent. You see that it's dripping here. The solvent is collecting here. So all the liquid here, what is here will dry up, and then the solvent will be collecting here. Yes. So you get a solid material here, and that is what you work on. After here, you can put it on a column to separate the individual chemical constituents.
There's one important thing I want to ask. When people bring their products for testing, have there been instances where you do not pass products?
Oh,
when
sure.
you do not, what do you do?
It's like what we do for products that come from outside. It's like a lab test. So for a patient, if you go to the lab, it may be either positive or negative. That is what applies here. The product comes here, it goes through the process. It is safe, it is not safe. Yeah. And we write a report, and then we give it to. So what is done here is basically like a lab test.
So really you no longer have a control over whether the individual who brought the product here will continue to use the unapproved product.
Yeah, we don't have control.
Or not. You have no
we don't
control.
have control.
Which possibly could be the role FDB should be playing in ensuring that people must get their the herbal medicines certified by going through the process by bringing them here for testing,
and then eventually
inspecting the technical report they get from you before approval.
Yes.
Okay, I understand. We next spoke to the microbiologist at the center, Dr. Daniel Boama, who explains to us some of the tests conducted on plant medicines at the center. So tell us what you do here and how the work you do here plays a general role in the overall work of the institute. Yeah,
as the name sounds, we look at the microbial quality of the herbal products. One, center's own products, and two, products submitted by the herbalists. So center also produce some of the products. For example, these products here. So this is Asena.
What does it? What is it supposed to do?
Pains.
Okay.
And this is Nebima for treatment of malaria.
I see.
And then this is Miss Ninja for dysmenorrhea and infertility.
I see. I see.
So when the production department finishes producing them, they are brought here for microbial quality assessment.
I see.
And then here what we do is we use our techniques to ensure that the products are not contaminated with microbes, fungi, bacteria, fungal spores and bacterial cells. So that's basically what we do.
So this end product, how different is this from any other which didn't pass through your lab testing and things? How different?
The difference is that the microbial quality cannot be ensured.
And what is microbial quality?
Microbial quality, we are looking at organisms, pathogenic organisms that can give us diseases or infections. For example,
like side effects.
Sort of, not side effect directly from the drug, but from the if it's contaminated, the department is to ensure that the products are not contaminated with pathogenic organisms.
Outside
bacteria,
pathogens have to be eliminated, and so that you get a pure medicine,
so that the patient taking it will not be infected with another disease in addition to what the person is being treated. And so we ensure that the product is not contaminated before they are sold to the patient.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is one. And secondly, we also look at we have a lot of herbalists around producing all kinds of medicine.
Yeah.
And then the FDA requires that they come here for other tests in addition to microbial quality assessment before they are given approval to be sold outside.
I see.
So they often bring their product here, and then we look at the microbial quality.
So what are some of the reason I'm asking this is to try and find out the range of medicines that you receive and the ailments they are expected to cure. So for example, what type of medicines for which ailments do you receive most here?
Mostly we receive malaria treatment that's purported to be useful for treatment of malaria. We also receive problems relating to erections, erectile dysfunctions. Some of these are commonly received. And also anemia for blood.
What about hypertensions?
Hypertensions, not so.
Hypotensions.
No, it's here that we have.
Okay.
We get some, but not so many.
Okay. But you produce your own.
Yeah, we produce our own for treatment.
And what is the what do you aim to do with the hypertension medicines, for example? Give people who have hypertension medicine that will lower their blood pressures or that will cleanse their blood? What exactly?
No. It's basically, that the BP cannot be eliminated completely. So the medicine given to the patient is supposed to help control the person's BP level so that it doesn't escalate to level that will be detrimental to their health.
All right.
So basically that's what we do. And also offer some support to the clinic. We have a small clinic.
Yes.
So sometimes we receive samples or patient specimen from them. And we do them microbial.
I see.
General problem.
So would you advise people who fall ill not to totally ignore herbal medicine? That, I mean, for example, myself, I'm not a firm believer of herbal medicine.
We have some people like that.
I wouldn't say, for example, taking herbal treatment aiming at curing malaria, for example. But you would say people like me, we should think again, right?
Sure, you should consider. One of the importance of herbal medicine, a lot of research has to be done into it, or we have to conduct a lot of research. One is, most of the drugs that we take from treatment of malaria, orthodox, they are good. And sometimes the side effects are also clear. But some believe that herbal medicine have some effect that can even destroy your... this, to some extent, is not true because they don't have the proof to show. So now we are trying to do chronic studies to authenticate whether those herbal medicines have some sort of dangerous side effects. Some could be, but we are yet to prove whether but for centers for the product we have, they have been researched into, and we can tell that they are.
But so you would say that unapproved herbal medicines or medicines that have not passed through the process of your scientific testing could be dangerous.
Of course.
That you would advise.
Also the FDA has not approved. Can also be dangerous or may not be dangerous. But the best thing is they must go through the process and obtain permission to sell them. Indicate that they have been approved and they are safe for human consumption before they are sold to people. So if you are buying something from the people on the street, you have to be very careful. You don't know what is in it.
This has been an unbelievable expose into the work that is conducted here at the Center for Scientific Research into Plant Medicines. You've heard the scientists tell us what they do here. how they subject each product that come to them from herbalists and their own products, and how they separate them and do all the scientific things that they've told us about. One key thing that I've learned here today is that the herbal medicines that are on the market are expected to go through approved processes of testing. Now, when they go through the testing processes, the center here has to issue a technical report, which now needs to be presented to the Food and Drugs Authority, FDA, for approval. So when you buy your herbal medicine, you have to be sure that you're buying from the approved institutions or approved places, just so that you know you're consuming a safe medicine, not to kill you, but to give you health and cure you from the ailments that you're recovering from. This is Joynews exclusive.